Did he live around?
Recording in progress.
Was he local? Around here?
Good evening, everyone. I want to call this May 25th City Council meeting to order. Will you please stand with me to say the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right. All right, thank you. And we will do roll call, and I will begin with Councilman Owen.
Present.
Councilman McGoffin,
Present.
Councilwoman Diamond,
Present.
Councilman Burns,
Present.
Councilwoman Kesty,
Present.
Councilman Allen,
Present.
and Councilman Lavaca.
Present.
And happy birthday.
Thank you.
Oh, happy birthday.
All right, moving right into approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion, we approve the agenda.
Thank
Second.
you. Thank you.
I'll second that.
Second by
Mayor.
Mr. McGoffin.
I just wanted to make a comment on the street sweeper really quick
Yes.
on that guy. So I did have a question with the street sweeper that I rose up to Mark Freiberg.
I saw that, yeah.
And it was just a question about maintenance and reliability and how much the long-term cost is, if it was a wise spend for right now. And he did write back a really detailed, good message on that and kind of broke down the fact that the street sweeper's been out of commission for the last 2 months, that we don't have parts for that guy. So just making it clear that, yeah, that big expenditure does have a lot of backing and a lot of thought behind it with the finances that are going out right now, because it is a pretty large amount for the city.
It is, but thank you, Lavaca, for doing that. Greatly appreciate that. And thank you for taking the time to explain what you learned so that the others are aware. Yeah. So we had a motion by for approval of the agenda by Councilman Owen, second by Councilman McGoffin. Is there any questions, concerns, or comments? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, and then moving on to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Excuse me.
Thank you.
I'll second that emotion.
Thank you. So we have a motion by Councilman Burns, second by Councilman Lavaca. Any questions? Any comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. So tonight we have a treat because Chief Tucker is acting as our city administrator while Charlie is out. So Chief, do you want to provide us with the city administrator's report?
Sure. I don't know if it's a treat really, but happy to do so. So just a couple of things to offer up. We've got been working in the last 2.5 days. This is more personal for me with Kevin Kesty and Brent Schuffelbein down at Riverfront Park. If you get a chance to go look at the main picnic or the main covered area, we're adding a new covered area over the grill where they do the salmon barbecue and a lot of barbecues are at. I'll tell you, Kevin is a rock star. Mark should probably pay him more. I don't know if that's a union thing or what, but doing a great job putting that together. And those two have been working their tails off, and I've been handing them tools and all that. So it's been working out really well. It's looking really good down there. We got the posts and the main beams up. So if you get a chance to drive by there, take a look and you get a chance to take a look at their work. They did a great job. And the second thing that we've talked about as a management team is the rising cost of fuel. So with the rising fuel prices and very little end in sight, the city staff is working on how this is going to affect our budgets. It's definitely going to affect our budgets. And we'll be keeping you posted as we get a better idea where this is going. We're going to be adding this to to the agenda pretty much every time if we have significant rises in that fuel costs. So we are working on that. We're keeping that in mind. And just as a side note on that, I sent a message to the school district, and they're in the same boat. They've huge fuel costs, and it's already hitting them hard, and it's already hitting us hard as well. So we're keeping it in mind. We're working on plans and ideas, and we'll keep you posted. And that's really all I had for that. And Mayor, were you going to talk about the YMCA moving into the building?
Yeah. I
Got
am.
it. Got
Okay.
it. That's all I have, ma'am.
All right, thank you. And so to the other directors over there, all we have on here anymore is just kind of the administrator's report, but is there something else you'd like to share? I see you're shaking your head no. Okay, yes, Mark, go ahead.
If you would indulge me,
Yeah.
I've been mentioning for quite a while about the wastewater Public Works building that I've been working on a plan to finish the site paving on the larger part of that we had to leave out when we were bidding the project due to concerns about the overall budget. I have had the final plans completed for that. And we met with the contractor today earlier to see if they were interested in looking at that as a potential change order to complete that work. We have found that we have sufficient funds, I think, to do that work. And so I just wanted to give you a heads up that that's moving ahead. And I will be coming back to council after I complete negotiations with them. If we're successful at meeting the budget that we have remaining for the project, we'll be coming to you to request a change to add that work in. The other thing that we've got going on along that same line, again, for budget purposes, we did not include in their original contract to finish the second floor of the Public Works Operations Building. And I have Carletti designing the final improvements there. We need them regardless. If we're not able to do it as a part of the project, we'll build it with our own forces in the following year or so. But again, it's possible that we have enough funds left to do that. And so those two things work together because I have to have both numbers to know where I'm at, but that's coming. And I just wanted to give you an update on that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So moving on to council reports. Mr. Owen?
I have nothing, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
All right, Mr. McGoffin?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just two items tonight. The first one is the farmer's market has started for the summer. So if you haven't checked it out already, it's down in Hammer Heritage Square every Wednesday. It's a great way to support local farmers and businesses. And the second item I have is tomorrow is going to be the technology committee meeting. So we'll have that report for you guys next week. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilwoman Diamond?
I have nothing tonight. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilman Burns?
Nothing tonight, Madam Mayor.
All right, thank you. Councilwoman Kesty?
Thank you. The American Legion will be putting out flags tomorrow at the cemetery. So if anyone would like to come help put them out, meet us there at 10:30 tomorrow morning.
All right, thank you. Councilman Allen?
Nothing, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilman Lavaca?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've heard a bit from the citizens about the excitement for this summer and opportunities that we've got going back on this summer. And with the T-ball game, I've heard some people asking if we were going to have any kind of vending with that T-ball. I believe that's dealt with the T-ball team. Is that correct, Sarah? Or the not T-ball, but the Little League.
Correct. Yes, that will all go through the Little League, whether they choose to have concessions or several years ago when they did it, there were mobile vendors that were out that came out to the field. So that will be up to the Little League as to how they want to handle that.
Okay, well, there's a lot of excitement for that. So thank you very much for
Wonderful.
running. Thank you.
Okay. So I just have a couple of things. First off, as the chief had mentioned, the YMCA is going to be having a ribbon cutting, and this is going to be on June 22nd. And I did send that out to all of you, so you should have that information in your email. It's June 22nd, 1 p.m. at the former library building. Also, you heard Councilwoman Kesty mention the flags for the memorial service. The memorial service is going to be happening on Monday at 9 a.m. at Memorial Union Cemetery. And I am very honored to be a part of that ceremony, and I look forward to that. The other piece that I have here is just kind of a COVID update, just to let you know that it is on the rise. It's increased by 63% over the last 7 days. We have had 2 related deaths to COVID. So they're considering the transmission really high. So just bear that in mind, take precautions, and do what you need to do. I think everybody knows the protocol. So that is that. I also wanted to thank the Community Action Agency for putting on the open house for the distribution center. I had sent that out to all of you. Chuck actually came and he and I went through the tour together. It was fascinating to learn all the different agencies that supply the food for them and then where all that goes. It was fascinating. It's pretty cool that it's here in Sedro-Woolley, that it actually happens here in Sedro-Woolley. And then the very last thing that I just wanted to mention has to do with what happened in Uvalde, Texas yesterday. I just want to say that there are no words that could adequately express the grief and loss of the precious and innocent lives that were taken from the world yesterday. And I am asking everyone to remember in prayer, or however you may share your spiritual life over the next several weeks, to keep the families of the children and the teachers of Uvalde, Texas in your prayers. Just asking God to wrap his healing hands around their broken hearts and shattered lives. Just remembering the parents and the family. So thank you for that. One last thing, is that it? I think that is it. So moving on, we will go to public comment. So it is 6:09 right now. And if there's anyone who would like to make public comment, I'll start first with anybody online. Let me just check first to see if there's anybody online that wants to do public comment. I think so. And I don't see anyone. So then I will call from the audience. Anyone who would like to do public comment, please come forward. State your name and address, and please try to keep it to 3 minutes. Thank you. There you go.
Brendan Maricinato, 6 Rita. You guys could have gotten rid of me so easily. All I asked was that the already publicly posted SMART investigation reports on the SWPD shooting of David Babcock be read at these meetings as a sign of good faith that you're all willing to be transparent on this tragic situation. Now, I'm sorry you all seem to care more about kids spraying graffiti on a wall than you do about citizens being shot by those sworn to protect us. But I'm not going to allow you to continue trying to sweep this under the rug. So if you won't do the right thing, even after being asked, I will gladly do so instead. And by the way, these reports, especially the updated ones, aren't exactly easy to initially find online, even if you know what you're looking for. That's why I'm asking you to read them. I would like to add that I strongly encourage anyone listening to look up the previous press releases, since they seem to remove vital information as they continue to update them. Things like Officer Maxwell Rosser's name and the fact the victim was shot in the back of the head seem to be conveniently missing from these updates. With that said, this is the most recent report dated May 19th in regards to the Sedro-Woolley police shooting of David Babcock by Officer Maxwell Rosser. SMART is sending out this release as an update regarding the independent investigation into the death of 51-year-old David A. Babcock of Concrete, Washington. This week, as part of the ongoing process, SMART investigators are continuing with peer review of the technical report. The Washington State Patrol Crime Scene Response Team report is still pending. The next scheduled press release will be on May 26th, 2022. If there's a significant update in the investigation, information will be released prior to then. Previous press releases can be found at www.skagitcounty.net/smart/html/cases.htm. Now, was that so difficult? Would that have added significant time to you all being here? Of course not, yet you'll all still probably refuse to do the right thing, as you all seem allergic to accountability. Some of you actually spend a lot of time trying to convince us you're not like those Olympia and DC politicians. Then you do your best impression of them as you run like children from accountability and consequences. I will say though, Councilmember Kesty, though I typically disagree with a lot of what you say in here, you absolutely hit the nail on the head last meeting when you said the people of Sedro-Woolley don't want their tax dollars being wasted on useless city council retreats. And I was very interested in her most likely very valid follow-up question on this subject before you rudely cut her off, Mayor. Quite frankly, I don't want any of the council reps going on retreats together or being buddy-buddy, because when it comes down to it, I want you all to have the unbiased courage to hold each other accountable when one of you messes up. I applaud your stance on this topic, Councilmember Kesty. I only ask that you consistently apply that exact logic of wasted tax dollars to a police officer who clearly shouldn't have a future on the force that is sitting at home taking our tax dollars monthly during an indefinite investigation. In closing, I'm not sure how many of you are here in good faith or just grifters who want the power to push your right-wing Tucker Carlson inspired nonsense. But if a citizen shoots another, they're typically caught, rightfully put in jail, and face charges. When an officer shoots a citizen, they're given a paid vacation and typically, at most, get fired, sometimes years after the incident. I want you to ask yourselves honestly, if any of your family members or friends or even you were shot in the back of the head by police on potentially faulty information, and this was the response of the city council and police department responsible, would you be satisfied? Like, I'm seriously asking that. Would you be satisfied with this? It's really ridiculous. I have to be here again. Would you be satisfied? Your murderer chilling on vacation, a police chief not addressing the situation at all or announcing any sort of policy changes in light of the unnecessary shooting, bringing up gas again. Good job.
Your three
Awesome.
minutes are up.
You're going to limit my First Amendment right?
Just
That I
saying,
earned?
3 minutes are up.
That's what I thought. A city council who constantly throws appreciation to the police while refusing to ever mention when they make a mistake. I promise you, if anything like this happened to any of you or your families, I would be up here doing the exact same thing. But I don't make the decisions, nor do I set the precedent. That's all of you. Read the investigation reports. I don't even care if it's the police rep doing it. They've already demonstrated their extreme incompetence, so I don't exactly expect them to be honest in regards to this situation. But the rest of you, in the interest of justice, transparency, and service to your constituency, grow a spine and read the SMART reports until the investigation concludes. Thank you. Take a fucking pay cut.
So that's enough. That's enough. You're out of order. That is what you thought. Okay, moving on to unfinished business. It is the 2022 budget amendment number 1, ordinance 2010-22. Debbie, I believe you're on.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. This is the second reading for the amendment for the 2022 budget. We went over the details at our last meeting, so I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have regarding this amendment.
Are there any questions for Debbie? Okay, hearing none. Does somebody want to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance 2010-22.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you. We have a motion by Councilman Burns, seconded by Councilman Owen. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, thank you. Motion carries. Moving on to new business, the memorandum of understanding with the Sedro-Woolley School District, having to have to do with the adjustment of boundary lines to accommodate construction of an arterial road. Mr. Freiberger.
Thank you, Mayor. The background on this is as you know, we've been working on the Jones-John Liner Trail Road Corridor project for several years now. The connection of the roadway to Cook Road was originally planned to go through the Sedro-Woolley School District property adjacent to the west boundary of the property. And during the course of our continuing negotiations with the district about that, they brought up a very pertinent point that it would be prohibitively expensive to do that. We had the opportunity with the Bucko family subdivision that is planned for the property north of the school district to work out a mutual agreement to locate the roadway in a different alignment on the east side of the school district's property. And we are in the process of purchasing the Norm Nelson property to make that possible. And as a part of that, we're looking at a boundary line adjustment for part of the property that we are purchasing to the school district in exchange for using a part of their property for the roadway alignment. And the developer's agreement with the Bucko family has been approved by the council and is in place, and they're designing on that basis. What this particular agreement does is memorializes the plan to do the boundary line adjustments that will be necessary to actually transfer the right or create the right of way for the roadway, and then to build that roadway on that alignment. So there's a lot of other details involved there. I met with the school board district at their last meeting and presented this to them. I had presented it in the preliminary manner about a year ago, so they knew it was coming. And we presented the alignment and the pluses and minuses on that. The plan is to have a mutually valued exchange of properties such that there's a minimal cost on either side. And that's what the memorandum of understanding memorializes. We'll move forward from there with preparing property valuations and finalizing the deeds and the legal descriptions and those kind of things. And it will come back to you again in the form of the actual documents that would do the boundary line adjustments. And so this is really preliminary to that, but it allows us to begin the process of assessing the property and coming up with the fair market valuations for the exchange. So that's basically in a nutshell what the memorandum of understanding is about. The superintendent of schools has already signed the agreement, so it is for you tonight to approve Mayor Johnson to sign the agreement to formalize that, and then we can move forward with the process. And we do request that you take action on that tonight.
All right. Thank you, Mark. Is there any questions or comments? Mr. Allen?
Mark, how much money is going to be going into this, or is it just a straight exchange?
There's probably going to be some valuation that we'll need to recover to make it completely whole, mainly from the fact that there's an industrial building on the Nelson property that is the school district does desire to have that be as a part of the exchange. And I think that does tilt the valuation somewhat in the favor of the city. That's part of the valuation process we'll do. We don't see any direct cost to the city for the boundary line adjustments other than the paperwork. We'll have to do the surveys and the deed writing and the actual boundary line adjustment preparation. There'll be some thousands of dollars to do that, which I don't have an estimate for you tonight on, but I can come up with that at the appropriate time. The Nelson property, of course, is a subject of ongoing. We have a possession and use agreement coming on that. Can't speak much more about that yet, but that's in process and should be finalized here shortly. And you'll be seeing that when it does come before you.
Okay, I appreciate your information there.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? So do we have a motion? Is council ready to move on this tonight?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to move forward on this.
Thank you.
I'll second.
All right, thank you. So we have a motion by Councilman Lavaca, seconded by Councilman McGoffin. Any comments, questions? No. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, thank you. Motion carries. And last item tonight is the Washington State Department of Commerce grant for residential customer arrearages. That's quite a word,
Yeah, good job.
arrearages. Okay, Debbie, you're on.
Yeah, thank you. This evening, I am just asking council's approval to go ahead and submit the application so that the city of Sedro-Woolley is eligible to participate in this program. It is a pretty limited program, as you could see from the text. Our citizens need to meet some of the requirements, but I think anything that we can do to assist citizens that are eligible is a good thing. So the money is passed through the Skagit County Community Action Agency because they are the agency in Skagit County that tracks the other two programs that makes people eligible for the arrearages. If they are successful, then of course, if they are behind on their current utility bills with the city of Sedro-Woolley, then we would be able to forgive those. They would be refunded. They would be funded through this program to the city, and we make the city whole on those utility accounts. So that's my report.
Such a great grant. Are there any questions or comments? All right, are you looking for a motion tonight?
Yes, if I could, because the application is due tomorrow, I would really appreciate it.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve Washington State Department of Commerce grant for residential customer arrearages.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
All right, thank you. So we have a motion by Councilman Burns, seconded by Councilman Diamond, to authorize the intern finance director Debbie Burton to submit an application through the Washington State Department of Commerce for the residential customer arrearages program. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. One thing that I do want to point out to council, and I'm sure you've already seen it, but under the information only items, the PD has added a report and they'll be adding this once a month. Is that correct, Chief? Once a month. And the IT department has also added a report and they too will be adding it once a month. Building and permit and planning has been doing it, I believe it's just once a month as well, but they're there for your information and also for the opportunity to call the different department heads if you have questions regarding what's going on in their department based upon what you read. So is there anything tonight for the good of the order? Okay, hearing none. Have a great night, people. We are adjourned.